I am in my 36th year total of being a PE teacher. I was a member of the union, the Hartford Federation of Teachers, for 29 years. I left the union in 2018 after the Janus decision, and the reason I left was I didn't feel like the union was advocating and protecting the teachers like they should have been. They're getting more involved in this political stuff that really has no business being in schools. In October of 2020, we had this professional development labeled Identity and Privilege. This was all on Zoom. We were given a number of topics like race, gender, sexual orientation, religion. And under each of the headings, there was a series of questions. Anytime you answered yes to a question, it would suggest that you had privilege. And I recognized it as part of critical race theory. At the end of that exercise, we were broken up into small breakout sessions, and the question was, how did it feel to engage in this activity? I was one of the senior teachers in the group, so I opened it up by stating, well, I just got man-bashed and white-shamed. 3 months later, I'm informed that I'm under investigation. Thus, the witch hunt begins. That's when I went in for my pre-disciplinary hearing. During this hearing, it was revealed to me that the union was in support of this type of training. They didn't pound the table in my defense. I pounded the table in my defense. The witch hunt now had become a kangaroo court. It was all manipulated and twisted to fit an agenda. I received a letter of reprimand that was placed in my personnel file, which says any further actions on your part may lead to termination. This is the first time in my entire career that I was ever disciplined for anything, and all because I answered a question. And I had to undergo sensitivity awareness training, basically telling you what to think and how to think, what to say, how to say it, of which has no place in school. In Hartford, the grievance is a 3-step process. The first 2 steps are controlled by district administration. The third step being arbitration. And arbitration was the only way I was going to get that level playing field I needed to clear my name. The HFT had stated to me that arbitration is reserved for dues-paying members. When I took a look at that statement, I knew something was wrong. I made a couple of phone calls. I was lucky to be turned on to the Fairness Center. That was the first step in me starting to move towards getting on that level playing field. I felt like I had a team now working for me, and a team that had a very good, close relationship to push my case forward. The Fairness Center filed with the State Board of Labor on a prohibited practice claim. The Labor Board sided with me, basically scolding the HFT. The Labor Board ruled that the teachers union violated their duty to fairly represent me by not taking me to arbitration because of my membership status. They had to stop discriminating against me, and they had to post a decision in every school for 60 days, basically saying that they did wrong, they broke the law. It ended up helping not only every teacher, but every public sector employee in the state of Connecticut, which was something I didn't expect. I have heard from other teachers of them saying, good for you, standing up for yourself. I think it's important for the teachers to know that you do not have to be a member of any teachers union or any public sector union in order to be represented. Unions were created to protect the workers. They need to go back to that mentality. I filed a suit in U.S. District Court to hold these Hartford school officials accountable for infringing upon my First Amendment right to free speech. I feel partially vindicated now that the union has been held accountable for their failure to represent me. However, I'm not going to feel fully vindicated until a handful of Hartford district administrators are held accountable and have to answer for how they conducted themselves during this witch hunt in kangaroo court. Now that the Fairness Center has filed a First Amendment retaliation claim in U.S. District Court, I think I finally got my level playing field, where now they're going to have to answer questions on what they did. It's kind of extraordinary that every public sector employee has benefited in the state of Connecticut because a teacher got reprimanded for answering a question.